So let's talk about a little bit about the future of staple foods and where you see yourself. So take us through a little bit in the next 5 years, maybe. What do you see your involvement? What do you see your role is going to be for small scale farmers? And even you can lay out your long term. What are your long term goals?
Sure. Short term, it is all about focusing on the sites that we have active at the moment and making sure that they're operating as well as possible. Right? You don't want to expand when you haven't got all your ducks in a row in your first areas. Right? But we're actually making a lot of progress in ways that we're really proud of. Again, we're lowering our capex even further. We're lowering our opex further. Site designs actually in much more intelligent way. So we're providing better water and it's simpler for our staff. That means that farmers are going to be able to farm better and it's going to cost us less. Overall, very good for the business. After that, though, we're going to want to continue to expand around Kenya. So right now, the majority of our irrigation is lake fed, but we'd like to get into rivers, reservoirs, which require government collaboration, potentially doing more borehole rehabilitation, and just get all around so that everybody knows that when you talk to Stable Foods, it means that we are a reliable source for irrigation and market offtake if necessary, right? And so then once we've, even in the short term proven that, then it's, get that 7-figure, maybe even 8-figure investment to just expand, right? And then then it gets to be really exciting because then you can start collaborating with bigger organizations, bigger companies. So instead of talking to one farmer at a time, maybe you talk to 1,000 farmers at a time. Boom. Maybe instead of 50-acre sites, you do 500-acre sites, right? All of this stuff just makes things easier, bigger, and that is, of course, better for the company. And then that, of course, is better for the farmers because our services will be improved. Usually when I'm not popular and I'm not famous, but every now and then I have a speaking engagement at a conference or maybe a podcast like this or an article. And then people will reach out to me and say, hey, I've got this farm in Tanzania, I got this farm in Nigeria, I got this farm in Ghana. All we need is irrigation. We'll take care of all the rest. And I always say, look, as soon as we get the investment ready to take us there, we're ready to go. We've been doing this for almost 3 years now. We've had a lot of learning opportunities. We feel really good about our ability to scale. It's just finding those opportunities, putting them in the ground and going. But that's just the core business. Going even further beyond the core business, I think that one of the things we're going to get into is export, right? What do I always say is first and foremost, local supply, local demand. But let's be honest, if you have a 500-acre site, you probably don't need to be doing 500 acres of kale, right? The community just doesn't need that much kale. So maybe you do 50 acres of kale, and then maybe it's 450 acres of something else that's a high-value crop for export. And then you rotate them around. So all the farmers get the opportunity to have the local and the export over the course of a year, right? So that's a really obvious one. And then another one is potentially post-harvest value addition, right? So we've got a lot of grade 3 tomatoes. Should we be turning those into tomato paste, et cetera, et cetera? There's many other examples such as that. And then you go broader. I mean, eventually we would love to get into really like the educational environment, right? Because again, we're taking farmers that have never really done commercial scale farming before, and we're asking them to be commercial farmers. There's a lot of educational component for that. You have a whole master's degree in this, maybe even perhaps a bachelor's. That's 6 years, right? But can we turn this into like a 6-month academy for like the best farmers in the region that then can be the staff members and the guides for everybody else? It's not a new idea. Other organizations have done it, but we really do want to be the A to the Z, and agricultural knowledge is an element of that.
Yeah, I must say that's a bold vision that lies ahead.
We're not here to do small improvements. Just to be very clear, right? Like we are shooting for that 500% increase, that 1,000% increase. There's nothing wrong with a 20% increase, but a 20% increase of extremely poor and extremely economically isolated is not materially improving, right? Like 500% and above is what we're going for. That's what's going to bring the economic transformation and the food security transformation that we need.
Yeah. Then I think the future looks good as well from that perspective.
Yeah, no, we're optimistic. We've proven a lot of things, and we want to continue to prove more.